When my husband died and gave me 30M, my daughter turned dark. You won't believe what happened. The night began like any other, but it ended in chaos, the kind that twists your gut and makes your heart race. When John went down in that car crash, my world shattered into a million jagged pieces, and something terrible awoke in my daughter, Lisa. One second she was my sweet little girl, the next she was a shadow of herself. It was as if his death cracked open a portal to something dark, something sinister that had always been lurking inside. That's when the money came into play, a staggering 30 million from a life insurance policy no one knew about. Instantly our lives shifted, but not in the way I had hoped. The first strange sign came when I discovered Lisa staring out the window, her small hands pressed against the glass. She looked different, her wide eyes reflecting a darkness I couldn't understand. "Mom, do you think he is still with us?" she whispered, her voice so low it almost got lost in the night. It sent chills down my spine. Did she even know who he was anymore? The tension in our home grew thicker, a weight that made it hard to breathe. Every corner of the house felt like it was closing in on me. Lisa's laughter echoed through the halls, but it felt wrong, like someone was mocking me. One evening, while going through John's old stuff, I stumbled upon a dusty box filled with photographs of places we had never visited. Why did he have these? My head spun with questions, each thought thicker than the last. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The more I pondered, the more unsettled I became. What was going on with Lisa? It was like she was slipping away, even as the money came rushing in. Late nights stretched endlessly where I'd find her clenching her fists, whispering something I couldn't catch, a ritualized chant that froze my blood. I felt a tightness in my chest, like I was watching her drift into an abyss. What had awakened inside her? The thought gripped my heart, squeezing tighter every second, leaving me gasping for air. As I stood there, staring down the corridor where shadows danced like ghosts, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen, something unimaginable. Lisa turned to me, her smile wide yet unnerving, and said, "Mom, don't worry. Everything is going to change." What did she mean? I shuddered at the implications. What was coming? I felt the urge to run, but my feet were glued to the ground. Suddenly, amidst all this foreboding, everything turned eerily silent. My heart thudded loudly in my ears, drowning out the creaking of the floorboards. The air felt electric, charged with an unspeakable tension. This was just the beginning, and I had no idea where it would lead. What secrets lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? I woke up to the sound of Lisa's whispering, a soft, haunting melody that floated through the darkness of the early morning. I crept out of bed, my heart pounding in my chest, and followed the voice down the hallway. With every step, I felt the temperature drop, and my skin prickled with unease. There she was again, standing at that same window, the pale light of dawn casting long shadows across her tiny frame. She looked up as I approached, her eyes glowing with an intensity that felt alien. "Mom, can we talk?" she asked, her voice steady and almost too calm. "What are you doing up so early?" I tried to sound casual, but the slight tremor in my voice betrayed my fear. "I was waiting for you." "Waiting for me? Why?" Her smile widened, yet it didn't reach her eyes. "Because I wanted to tell you about Dad and why he left us." My breath caught in my throat. "What do you mean?" My stomach twisted painfully. The deeper meaning of her words gnawed at me like a rat at a scrap. "I have a feeling you're going to find out soon." I felt a chill run down my spine, and I wrapped my arms around myself. I wanted to shake her, to demand she explain what she meant, but instead I felt paralyzed. The innocent girl I knew was fading, replaced by someone darker. Someone who held secrets. Later that day, I decided to clear my head with a walk around the neighborhood. The sun shone too brightly overhead, an ironic contrast to the storm brewing inside me. As I strolled through the familiar streets, I couldn't help but notice the curious eyes of the neighbors, glancing my way. They must have heard about John. They must have seen the too quiet girl at my side, that I comforted myself with thoughts of reaching out to friends, maybe giving them a call for some support. But the moment I stepped into the coffee shop, the atmosphere shifted. People glanced my way, hushed whispers bouncing off the walls. Maybe they felt the shift. Maybe they knew something was wrong. Something beyond the tragic news. Just as I was about to order, a loud crash startled everyone. A tray slipped from a waiter's hands, sending a couple of cups tumbling to the floor. The room erupted into gasps, and I felt my pulse race. The air was thick with tension, much like at home with Lisa. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, of layers being peeled back, revealing something vile waiting underneath. "Are you okay?" A voice broke through my thoughts. It was an old friend, Sarah, looking concerned as she approached me. "Just a lot on my mind," I replied, but my voice sounded hollow even to my ears. "Have you talked to Lisa lately? I've heard things." She hesitated, her eyes darting to the side. "Things? Like what?" "Just rumors, I guess." This darkness surrounding her. "Is it true?" A lump formed in my throat. "She's been acting strange ever since John. Since the accident. I know it's hard, but you need to keep an eye on her." The urgency in her voice sent waves of dread through me. The weight of her words sunk in. I was losing my daughter to an unknown force, and I didn't know how to fight it. As I turned to leave the coffee shop, a strange man caught my eye from across the street. He was watching me, his gaze piercing. My heart raced. Who? Why were they watching? I felt a cold sweat trickle down my back. I had to know, what did Lisa really mean about her father? The questions loomed larger, devouring my sanity. Just as I stepped outside, a sharp laugh echoed behind me, carrying an edge of madness. It was Lisa's laugh. What was happening? And where was this path leading us? The air felt different as I walked outside, vibrating with a static energy that made each step heavy. I turned, scanning the street for that man, but he was gone, swallowed by the crowd. My body tensed, fighting the urge to sprint home. Instead, I stood still, trying to compose myself, but it was impossible. Lisa's laugh echoed in my head, a sound that used to warm my heart now sent icy tendrils of dread through me. I hurried home, the echoes of whispers and judgment following me down the street. Neighbors' faces blurred as I passed, their murmurs swirling in my mind. Had they seen something? Were they piecing together signs I'd missed? What if they knew the dark whispers Lisa was sharing? As I entered the house, the stillness enveloped me like a shroud. A sense of foreboding dropped with a thud in my stomach. I called out for Lisa, but only silence answered. I walked to her room, anxiety gnawing at me. The door creaked open, revealing an untouched space, her books stacked neatly, toys arranged in order, but her bed empty. Lisa! Panic coursed through my veins. Was this part of whatever was haunting her? I turned and re-entered the hallway, feeling the walls closing in. Suddenly, a low hum emanated from the living room, a melody that felt eerily familiar. It was unsettling, reminiscent of something cheerful, yet laced with haunting undercurrents. Cautiously, I approached, each step bringing forth mounting trepidation. To my horror, Lisa sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes closed, surrounded by a circle of candles. The warm light flickered ominously, casting eerie shadows that danced along the walls. She was chanting something, her lips moving in serpentine whispers, completely engrossed in whatever spell she was weaving. "Lisa!" I shouted, my voice trembling. The chant cut off instantly, and her head snapped up, revealing a vacant smile stretched across her face. "Mom, you're back!" she exclaimed, her voice a peculiar blend of sweetness and something darker. "I was just summoning some energy. Isn't it beautiful?" My heart raced as I watched the flickering flames around her. "What are you doing?" "What do you mean, summoning energy?" "Energy to help us," she grinned wider, her eyes reflecting a manic glint. "To answer your questions about Dad." Panic surged through me. My feet felt glued to the floor. Yet the urge to flee, to escape the unsettled air of the house, was overpowering. "What do you mean? You need to stop this. He left for a reason, Mom. He knew." Her gaze darkened, turning cold and penetrating. "He would never let you figure it out. But now I have the power." The weight of her words pressed down, trapping me in the moment. This wasn't the daughter I knew. The daughter was tragic and vulnerable. This version felt like an entity with a purpose, fueled by knowledge deeper than my own. Before I could respond, Loud banging resounded as if someone was hammering on the front door. Both our heads snapped towards the sound. Confusion coated my fear. Who could that be? I asked, swallowing hard. Lisa's eyes glimmered with something sinister. They have come for what's ours. And we are not ready. Just as the door burst open, slamming against the wall, a figure appeared in the threshold. A man, faceless but shrouded in an aura of authority, stepped into the room. I felt the temperature plummet. It's time. We need to talk about your family, he declared, his voice smooth yet chilling. What sort of family? What darkness did they want to uncover? And who exactly had Lisa become? The moment hung heavy in the air, thick with tension. The man's presence felt like a cold blanket wrapping around us both. I instinctively stepped closer to Lisa, feeling a desperate need to protect her from whatever was about to unfold. Who are you? I managed to choke out. My heart raced as I gauged his expression. There was no face, only a shadow where eyes should be, a void that swallowed any light around him. I am a messenger, he stated, his tone sending shivers down my spine. And I bring news that you cannot ignore. The walls felt like they were pressing in on me. We don't want any news. Just leave us alone, I shouted, panic bubbling to the surface. Lisa, however, remained unervingly calm. No, Mom. This is important. She looked up at him with a fervent intensity that made my stomach twist. The man continued, as if I hadn't spoken. Your husband's passing and the inheritance have awakened forces far beyond your understanding. Lisa is merely the vessel through which it is channeled. My mind reeled. My husband had died, leaving us a fortune, but this? The words forces and vessel sent alarm bells ringing in my head. Everything I thought I knew about our lives was crumbling. What do you mean, a vessel? Lisa is just a little girl. The man stepped closer, the shadows swirling around him like smoke. She may be, but she is entwined in something greater now. The power inherited is not meant to be taken lightly. Tears stung my eyes, the weight of his words crashing over me. You're scaring her. You need to leave. I held my breath, desperate for him to disappear into the void from whence he came. The man looked at me, and in that moment, his shadow seemed to pulse as if alive. The darkness that you wish to keep buried will not stay buried. Your husband knew. That's why he left. I shook my head in disbelief, crashing the remnants of the reality I clung to. No, he couldn't. But the conviction in his voice gnawed at my sanity. Denial is futile, he said, leaning in even closer. You must embrace what is happening. Prepare her and yourself for the truths yet to come. A violent shiver raced through me. I couldn't even comprehend what truths he was hinting at, but the hint of a sinister agenda hung thick in the air. Lisa remained eerily still, watching intently, her vacant smile unwavering as if she understood something I didn't. Something dark, something powerful. Suddenly, the candles around her flickered violently, extinguishing one by one until dimness wrapped around us. In the sudden void, I searched for the man, but he was gone. Silence filled the room, pressing against my ears, suffocating me. Lisa! I gasped, stumbling backward as the reality of the moment crashed down. But she didn't respond. She stood up, her expression shifting. The light that had illuminated her gentle features faded, replaced by something cold and calculating. Mom, she said slowly, it's too late. They're coming for the energy and we can't stop them now. Hope twisted into despair as the atmosphere crackled with foreboding. Fear clenched my throat. If everything he said was true, what could I possibly do to protect her? I reached for her, my trembling hands brushing against hers. We have to fight it. We have to stop this. A chuckle escaped her lips, empty and chilling. You still don't understand. This is just the beginning. And just like that, the shadows deepened around us, concealing the reality I had known. What had I unleashed? What awaited us in the darkness? Time had run out, and the answers lay just beyond the veil. What horrors would dawn with the next light? The air buzzed with a static charge that made the hairs on my arms stand on end. I looked at Lisa, the girl I'd known and loved, now transformed into something alien. Her eyes, once filled with warmth, held a chilling emptiness that cut through me like ice. Lisa, I pleaded, trying to reach the daughter I recognized, please come back to me. But all I got was silence, a steep, echoing void that swallowed my words, leaving me hollow with fear. Mom, she said again, but this time the voice wasn't hers. It echoed, layered with something that made my skin crawl. You cannot fight what you do not understand. The room felt colder, as if the shadows themselves were gaining substance, creeping closer. I clutched at my chest, breath coming in short gasps. The walls, once a comforting backdrop, now loomed overhead, like the jaws of a great beast ready to snap shut. What do you mean they're coming? I managed to stammer out. Who are they? They are the ones who we've been watching, Lisa replied, her tone eerily detached. The ones waiting for the power within me to awaken. The word power echoed in my mind, a deep chasm of dread opening beneath my feet. My husband's death was supposed to bring freedom, not peril. You're just a little girl. You don't need any of this. Maybe I'm more than you think, she said. A smile creeping onto her lips that felt wrong twisted. The shadows seemed to sway around her as if responding to her every word. Dad knew this would happen. He chose me, Mom. I'm his legacy. A flood of guilt washed through me. Memories of my husband flashed before my eyes, his laughter echoing in the halls, his arms wrapping around us both like a protective cocoon. Had he really known? The thought made the panic tighten further in my chest. Stop it! I shouted, my voice breaking. Stop playing games, Lisa. As if provoked, the shadows surged forward, wrapping around her. I stepped back, fear squeezing my heart as darkness enveloped her small figure. You can't take her. She's just a child. My scream seemed to hang in the air, unanswered. Mom! Lisa's tone shifted again, her voice growing louder and deeper, echoing with an authority that didn't belong to her. You must decide. You can either accept what is unfolding or resist and face the consequences. Either way it will come for you. What had I stepped into? What consequences loomed on the horizon? Questions spiraled in my mind, thoughts battling each other in a chaos of disbelief. I had never believed in the supernatural. Now it stood in front of me. Then a distant rumbling shook the room, vibrating through the walls and beneath my feet. The lights flickered dangerously, and a low growl echoed from somewhere deep within the house, a sound that felt alive, predatory. Hold on tight, Mom, Lisa said, her eyes narrowing with resolve. They're almost here. I grabbed her hand, heart racing like a wild drum in my chest. Who's coming? What do we do? But even as I spoke, the realization washed over me. It didn't matter. The door to whatever world had been unleashed was already wide open. The urgency clawed at my throat as the air thickened with an ancient, powerful dread. My worst fears had taken corporeal form, and they were waiting just beyond the veil. What had I unleashed? What came next? Before I could catch my breath, the walls shook violently, rattling down the very core of our lives. Then it happened. A shattering crash. And then the whispers started. The whispers crawled under my skin, a chilling hush that filled the air like smoke. I shivered, pulling Lisa closer, my desperate grip tightening around her small hand. What are they saying? I urged, my heart hammering wildly against my ribs. Not yet, she replied, her voice a strange mix of tones, too layered to be hers. They need to focus. They can feel. She hesitated, tilting her head, eyes glazed, as if slipping into a trance. My breathing grew shallow, and the shadows morphed into shapes, twisting and writhing like dark smoke. I fought the urge to scream, the icy truth tearing at me. The house felt alive, each creak of the floorboards echoing like a heartbeat, sinister and unsettling. Lisa's gaze pierced into the dark, her expression a blend of fear and exhilaration. They're coming. I wanted to shout, to pull her away, back to safety, but the words jammed in my throat. Then came a sound, a soft, almost crooning voice that slithered through the cracks, wrapping around us like a cold breath. Let us in, it beckoned. A honeyed tone with a razor's edge. We have something to show you, something only she can unleash. Stop! I shouted, a primal instinct taking over. I wouldn't let them in. I wouldn't succumb to whatever dark fate twisted through my daughter. Lisa, we need to leave now. She blinked, the fierce light in her eyes flickering. You don't understand. I'm not afraid of them. I'm their vessel. My stomach churned. I caught a glimpse of the shadows stretching and unfurling, crawling towards us. I tried to remember the warmth of a sunlit afternoon, the sound of laughter, a world beyond these looming horrors, but it felt distant, like a fading dream. Lisa! I cried. This isn't you. Fight it. No. She screamed back, teeth clenched, nostrils flaring. You can't stop it. He made me strong. Those words cut deeper than any blade. Could my husband's secrets, a power so potent, it had now taken root in our lives, be twisted into such horror? I felt myself teetering on the edge of a chasm, each breath pulling me further into darkness. The growl came again, this time louder. It echoed through the walls, rattling windows and sending shards of glass shimmering to the floor. Then suddenly silence descended as heavy as stone. "Do you hear it?" she asked, eyes wide, her expression shifting to something feral. "They want you. They want your acceptance so they can help me." "No," I roared, shaking my head violently. "I won't let you." But as I pulled back, the shadows surged forward, wrapping around her, swirling like a tempest. I felt a wave of cold rush over me, and the whispers climbed higher, now a deafening cacophony filling my mind. "Join us, you'll be free," they sang, weaving through my consciousness. "Lisa," I begged, desperation bubbling in my chest. "You're stronger than this." Time slowed as her eyes locked onto mine, a flicker of recognition breaking through the vacancy. Then just as fast, the glow dulled, an unyielding darkness swallowing her whole. "Mom," she murmured weakly, and for a fleeting moment, I saw my little girl, but only a shadow of her remained, fading like mist in the morning sun. The ground shook beneath us, the very foundation threatening to crack open. I surrendered to a wave of despair, wondering if I still had time to pull her back from whatever void was consuming us. "Please," I whispered, tears blurring my vision. "I can't lose you." Then the whispers converged, a million voices echoing in unison, drowning out my pleas. "You've lost already." The moment you let him in. With a desperate yell, I tore myself from the shadows, pulling Lisa with me, trying to escape the fate drifting closer. But as I stumbled forward, the walls closed in, tightening around us like a vice. What was left of Lisa was slipping away, and with it, the chance to reclaim my daughter. I turned to face the encroaching darkness one last time, the weight of dread rooting me in place. Then I heard it, a crack in the wall, a light flickering where there should be none. Was there a way back? A summoning force strong enough to pull her from this abyss? "Mom," Lisa echoed again, her voice trailing off as a shadow loomed ever closer. What was truth? What was power? More importantly, what price must I pay to save my child and escape this nightmare? The moment hung lungingly in the air. And suddenly, the whispers ceased. But something far worse was just beginning. The air vibrated with an almost tangible anger as the silence surged. I could feel every hair on my body standing at attention. My instincts screamed at me to flee, to find safety in the bitter night. But I couldn't abandon Lisa. She was slipping away from me and the darkness was clawing at her essence. Then came the crackle of energy, a brilliant flicker from the wall, harsh against the night's stillness. I dared to hope, but as the light grew brighter, it cast long and twisted shadows that danced around us mockingly. "Lisa, focus on the light," I shouted, lunging towards it. "It means there's a way out." Her eyes, once vibrant, looked dimmed and shadowed, as if the very essence of her being was dimming along with the light. I don't know if I can." The fight in her voice quaked, mixing with the electric rasp of the shadows that climbed ever closer beneath the glow. The entity whispering through the cracks lashed out in frustration. "Why resist, little girl? Power awaits you beyond this fragile life. Let it embrace you," it hissed, each word dripping malicious intent. My heart thundered as dread knotted into my gut. "Lisa, you don't belong to them. You belong to us," I yelled, hoping my words could sever the bond they were laying claim to. The replies from the shadows grew more chaotic, voices overlapping in a tangled mess of deceit. "Us? They are the ones holding you. They lie. Accept your gift and we will protect you." I scrambled toward Lisa, the darkness lapping at my heels. I felt a breath like ice brush over my shoulder, sending chills through my spine. Glancing behind, I glimpsed arms of swirling black clawing toward me. They mirrored Lisa's panic, hungry for what they could devour. "Lisa, remember the stories I read to you? The bravery, the light that always conquers? Fight for that." My throat was tight, each strain to speak felt like sandpaper. But then her face twisted into something I didn't recognize, a smile forming that was anything but innocent. "You don't understand, Mom. This strength, it's exhilarating." A cold rush of fear shot through me as she embraced it, a wave of power coursing through her. It was intoxicating. A sickening realization unfurled inside me. What if Lisa didn't want to fight anymore? What if she was too far gone? Please, sweetie. I was crying now, the tears blurring my vision. You're still in there. You're my girl. Remember the playground? The games? Your friends? Those things don't matter anymore, she hissed, her voice echoing with multiple tones, twisting like the shadows encircling her. I felt the ground beneath me tremble again. But this time something snapped. An unyielding clarity flowed through my veins as I gripped her shoulders. No. I won't let them take you. I peered into her eyes, searching for the flicker of humanity that once burned bright. What if I offered them something else? Something they desire even more than you? The shadow's laughter roared as the dark pulsed around us like a heartbeat. Nothing can replace her. You're too late. But then there it was, a fleeting light sparked in Lisa's eyes. A glimmer of understanding, of fear. Mom, what are you? With desperate resolve, I pushed back against the suffocating presence closing in. They want my soul instead. Then take me. Let her go. The shadows paused as if considering my words. For a brief moment I could feel their hunger, their anticipation free of distraction. And in that hesitation I seized the flickering light, enveloping it with my will. Lisa! I cried, my voice rising. Hold on to me. We're stronger together. Don't let them win. But as I fought against the darkness, a sudden crack slammed through the air, each shadow recoiling in fury. The walls trembled and I realized I was running out of time. Redemption flickered like that weak light, ready to be extinguished. Then, buckle under the tension, the reality struck. What was truly more precious than life? And who was I betraying in this struggle? Let it come. Find the truth together. I screamed as the floor shook violently, preparing to swallow us whole. But all I could hear above the chaos was one last whisper weaving its web. The moment had come. The ground shuddered beneath us, an angry pulse that vibrated in my bones. I clutched Lisa tighter, my fingers digging into her shoulders, trying to anchor her to the world we knew. Shadows clawed at the edges of my vision, hungry, insatiable. Their whispers pressed against my mind, an echo of dark temptation. Mom! Lisa gasped, as if recognizing the grip on her was a lifeline. I can feel them, it's like they're there, her words faltered, uncertainty threading through her voice. They're trying to twist your will. We're stronger. Fight them. I urged, though my own voice shook with doubt. Every word filled with urgency. I could feel the darkness slither between us, drawing nearer. Mom, what if I don't want to fight? The spark of innocence in her eyes flickered again, struggling against the overwhelming shadow. What if there's freedom in letting go? No, there's only despair. I insisted, fear gnawing at my insides like a ravenous beast. You can't believe them. They want to use you. They'll take everything. With a deafening crack, the walls buckled, splintering apart like fragile wood. The light that flickered from the cracks cast ghastly shapes that threatened to engulf us. I could see it reflected in her eyes. The allure of power was intoxicating, but then, as if a dam had broken, a surge of wind swept through the chamber, wresting the shadows back, if only for a moment. I seized this flicker of hope, a connection to what we once shared. Lisa, remember your 7th birthday? When you blew out the candles and wished to go on an adventure. She blinked, confusion flashing across her face. It's just a memory, Mom. It's more than that. It's a reminder of who you are. That spark inside of you, don't let it fade. We can take on anything together. The urgency in my voice clawed through the shadows, trying to anchor us to something real. As I spoke, I felt the pull of the shadows lessen, the icy grip easing. Lisa hesitated, her breath hitching with doubt. Can we really fight them, Mom? Can we really win? Yes, together we can. But the darkness roared back, vibrations echoing through the walls and floor. Together? Oh, how naive. You know nothing of the true power that awaits her. Let the light go. Embrace your rightful place. The air thickened with a desperation I could taste, sharp and metallic. What could I offer now that would turn the tide? Lisa, listen to me. I will do anything to save you, even if it means facing them alone. Suddenly her eyes widened. Mom, wait. What do you mean by that? The shadows recoiled, understanding the weight of my sacrifice. I'll trade myself for you. I'd rather endure their torment if it means you're free. No, don't say that. Her voice wavered, a plea that cut through the shadows. I can't let them have you too. I want to allow it. But you must fight. I can't lose you to this darkness. A piercing scream erupted from the shadows, a cacophony of voices merging into one furious wail. The walls pulsed, desperate and furious, and the flickering light dimmed, falling into a desperate twilight. Just as I thought all hope might be lost, a blinding light erupted from deep within Lisa, brighter than anything I had ever seen. It cascaded across the chamber, illuminating every corner, and with it came clarity. "Mom, we can't let them take anything from us," she shouted, newfound strength coursing through her. But before I could celebrate that spark of rebellion, the shadows writhed violently, losing form as they twisted into something more monstrous, more desperate. "You can't fight your destiny," they screamed, rage echoing within me. The shadows began to shift, forming a vortex of darkness, threatening to take us both. "We've lost too much. You can never escape." Suddenly, from the heart of the vortex, a new voice emerged, piercing through the chaos a familiar tone, one I knew all too well. "Lisa, Mom, can you hear me?" It was a voice from my past, and it sent a shiver of recognition through me. Who was the voice? What did it mean for us now, teetering on the edge of despair? Who is that? Lisa's eyes searched desperately, flickering between the light of hope and the abyss of darkness. Before I could answer, the shadows lunged forward. Desperation clawed at my guts. This wasn't over yet. Something waited just beyond the veil, and we needed to know what it was. What have we unleashed? The fabric of reality twisted, bending as the shadows surged, their malignant forms dragging themselves closer. The voice echoed again, clearer now, etched in my memory like a haunting melody. I strained to catch its origin, a face flickering at the edge of my mind, a figure from a dream long buried. "Lisa, it's your father," the voice beckoned, deep and reassuring, cutting through the storm like a bolt of lightning. My breath hitched. Doubt mingled with a wild mix of hope and dread. "Dad?" Lisa ventured, her voice shaking like a fragile leaf clinging to a branch. The shadows paused, a momentary stillness enveloping us, as if they too felt the power of that name. "Don't listen to him," I shouted over the chaos, panic igniting in my chest. "It's a trick. They want to turn you against everything we've fought for." A flicker of uncertainty crossed Lisa's face. She was caught between two worlds, one, drenched in darkness, beckoning with promises sweeter than honey. The other, a battlefield of love and sacrifice. "Lisa, listen," I continued, my voice cracking, desperation clawing at every fiber of my being. "We cannot trust them. You know the truth. Your father would never want you to succumb to this darkness." But the shadows whispered, lacing their venomous tendrils through the air, swirling around us. "He only wants to reunite with you, dear child," they hissed seductively. "What's the point of fighting when the arms of a loving father await? Embrace your true nature." Lisa stared, frozen between the abyss and the flickering light of hope. The shadows clawed at her will, trying to push her over the edge. "Mom," she whispered, teetering dangerously. I could see the battle waging within her, a tempest threatening to swallow the last strands of light. "Fight it," I shouted, my heart racing. "Remember who you are. Remember us." The light, once burning bright within her, shuddered, dimming dangerously. I could feel the frigid breath of the shadows close in, suffocating the warmth in the room. Then a flicker. The air shifted again, the looming darkness momentarily pulling back. I wasn't sure what happened, but instinct told me that my desperation had struck a chord. "You're stronger than them, Lisa. You possess your father's courage, but you have my love." Suddenly, Lisa's face transformed, determination igniting in her eyes. "I won't let them take me. Not now, not ever." With a powerful surge, she reached deep inside herself, and the light exploded forth, cascading against the shadows like a cleansing wave. The room erupted with blinding brilliance, illuminating the entire chamber in radiant white, casting shadows scattering in every direction. But the shadows roared back, regaining their ferocity. "No," they wailed, twisted forms writhing in defiance. "You cannot escape. You belong to us." "Enough." Lisa's voice rang out, filled with authority I had never heard before. No longer a daughter caught in a web, but a warrior born from the very essence of light. The shadows recoiled, slithering backwards, shrieking as if doused in ice. Yet, in that moment of triumph, the voice returned, deeper and darker, echoing through the tumult. "You think you've won? You do not know what waits in the depths." The ground trembled violently as the walls creaked, threatening to collapse under the weight of the unseen force. "What do you mean?" I shouted, wrestling with my own fear as I held onto Lisa for dear life from the churning shadows. A figure began to form, an apparition cloaked in darkness, but the outline held a familiarity that sent a shock through me. I didn't want to believe it, but the truth peeled back like the layers of an onion. "Who are you?" Lisa breathed, eyes wide with realization. The shadows pulsed, and the figure stepped closer, the resemblance unfolding with every heartbeat. And in that moment my heart dropped. What had we unleashed? And who was coming to claim what had been lost? As the figure emerged from the depths, its voice a chilling echo of affection tinged with malice, I could hardly breathe. "I am here to collect what was promised." The air hummed with an electric pulse as the figure materialized, taking on a shape that sent shockwaves through my heart. It was unmistakable, the outline, the stance, even the familiar way it tilted its head. My husband John, but not quite. Shadows clung to him like thick fog, distorting his essence into something grotesque. "John," I whispered in disbelief, my voice a mere tremor in the chaos. "Mom, is that really Dad?" Lisa's voice wavered, filling the space with a chilling uncertainty. "Yes, it is I," the figure replied, an echo of warmth laced with something sinister. "I've come to reclaim what belongs to me." Panic erupted in my chest. "No, you're not him. This is a trick," I shouted, clutching Lisa tighter, trying to shield her from the darkness that enveloped him. "Clever girl," the shadowy figure laughed softly, a sound that grazed against my sanity. "But you're not as strong as you believe. Lisa has the power to set me free. She is my legacy." With a roar of righteous anger, Lisa stepped forward, a fierce light radiating from her, pushing against the darkness. "You don't get to take me. I'm not going anywhere with you." "And yet," John sneered, shadows curling around him, "you are the vessel for something far greater. You will succumb one way or another." His eyes glimmered with an unholy hunger. "Don't listen to him. He is not your father anymore," I yelled, my heart racing as the shadows reached for Lisa, clawing at her resolve. "Your father loved us. He would never want you to be part of this darkness. He left, didn't he?" John's voice wielded like a weapon. "He left you both in the darkness, and now it's time for you to embrace your destiny. Join me, Lisa. Together we can extinguish the light." "No, I won't do it," Lisa shouted, her voice piercing through the tumult. "You're not him. You're just a shadow of who you used to be." The room trembled as the shadows shrieked in outrage, their angry whispers swirling around us like a hurricane, trying to drown out our voices. I felt despair clawing at the edges of my sanity, testing my belief that we could survive this, that we could reclaim our lives from this nightmare. "Mom!" Lisa looked at me, her fear palpable, but there was fire in her determination. "What do I do? How do I fight this? Remember who you are," I urged, channeling every ounce of love and courage I had. "You are brave. You are stronger than this darkness. Your light is your power, hold on to it." Just then the oppressive shadows pressed closer, trying to overwhelm her spirit. But as if ignited by my words, an intensity flared within Lisa, bursting forth like a sun breaking through storm clouds. "No!" John thundered, the shadows recoiling in rage. "You dare defy me?" "I'm not afraid," Lisa declared fiercely, her voice rising above the roiling darkness. "I won't let you take me. You might have been my father, but you aren't anymore. You're just a monster." The very air around us thickened with the clash of light and shadow. Something inside me started to shift hope. A simmering realization washed over me. This was the moment. This was our chance. "Lisa," I called, my heart pounding. "You have the power to banish him. Remember your strength. Remember the love you have for your family." In that instant, Lisa raised her hand, light radiating from her fingertips, illuminating the shadows that surrounded them. "You will never take my light," she shouted, summoning every ounce of strength, every cherished memory we had ever shared. A powerful glow erupted from her, surging forward like a tidal wave. As the light clashed against the darkness, a violent storm erupted around us. The shadows writhed and recoiled, shrieking in fury. I felt my heart align with Lisa's, a pulse of courage surging through me. "Together!" I shouted, reaching for the light she conjured, anchoring myself to her resolve. The luminous energy spiraled outward, sweeping the darkness aside, illuminating the room with warmth and love. The shadows shrieked, retreating like insects against the sun. No, this cannot be. John howled, his form distorting as the light disintegrated the shadows. Clinging to him. Lisa. Goodbye, Dad, she said with defiance, a resolute calm washing over her as she invoked the full force of her power. The air crackled with energy as the light swallowed the shadows, pushing them back into the void. With one final pulse, everything exploded in a blinding brilliance, overpowering the darkness. The echo of anguished screams faded into silence, and the shadows imploded. Sucked back into nothingness, I collapsed to my knees, gasping, heart racing as the brightness finally subsided. Lisa! I called, my voice breaking as I searched the room for her. She stumbled towards me, her face pale but radiant with unyielding strength. Mom! Relief flooded me. I wrapped her in my arms tightly, feeling her warmth and strength melted the last of my terror away. You did it. We did it. I sobbed, my heart bursting. Yes, she murmured, her voice softer now, laced with uncertainty. But what happens now? Taking a moment to breathe in the gravity of that question, I realized that we were still standing. Now we rebuild. Together. We face the world with our heads held high, knowing that love conquers all darkness. As we held on tight, the shadows had been vanquished. Our hearts were heavy but our spirits soared. Together we would forge a new path, one filled with light, love, and unbreakable bonds. I couldn't shake the feeling that there were more truths out there, waiting to be uncovered, but we faced those together. United. Mom, I don't want to lose you again, Lisa whispered, her eyes full of sincerity. You won, T. I promise, I said, squeezing her hand. We are stronger together. And with that, we stepped out into the world, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. Now it's your turn to step up. You need to subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will twist your mind. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Your support is everything. Flood the comments section below. I want to hear your reactions and theories about this heart-pounding conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support for creativity and storytelling in this community.